There are days when the world feels too loud for an INFJ, not because of the noise that fills the air, but because of the silence that lives beneath it. It's a strange kind of heaviness, a weight that doesn't come from what people say, but from what they leave unsaid, from the invisible currents of thought and emotion that ripple beneath every smile, every passing glance, every carefully chosen word. To be an INFJ is to exist in a constant duality, to feel deeply yet appear composed, to understand the hearts of others while struggling to reveal your own, to carry the light of empathy while drowning quietly in its intensity. And within that duality lie 7 quiet struggles that shape every INFJ's day, 7 invisible battles that unfold beneath the surface of an otherwise calm exterior, battles no one sees, but every INFJ knows too well. The first struggle is the dissonance between what you know intuitively and what others can see. You read the layers beneath people's words like chapters in a book, but most people live only on the cover. You sense dishonesty, insecurity, longing, or kindness buried in their tone, but when you try to express what you see, you're often dismissed as overthinking, dramatic, or too sensitive. So you stop explaining. You learn to keep your insights quiet, to nod and smile even when you already know the truth. You walk through life carrying silent revelations, about people, about motives, about outcomes, and it can make you feel isolated in your own knowing. It's not arrogance. It's intuition, sharpened through empathy, refined through observation. But when no one else sees what you see, you begin to question yourself. Maybe I'm imagining it, you tell yourself, even though time always proves you were right. This silent knowledge is both a gift and a curse. It allows you to navigate people's depths, but it also alienates you from their surface. You exist in a deeper emotional wavelength, one that others rarely tune into, and that distance becomes your quiet loneliness. The second struggle is the constant war between your compassion and your boundaries. You want to help, to heal, to understand, to ease the pain you sense in others, but you also know how easily that compassion can become self-destruction. People come to you with their chaos because they sense your calm. They unload their traumas, their worries, their secrets, and you hold them tenderly, carefully, as if they were fragile glass. But sometimes, while holding others, you forget to hold yourself. You give until you feel hollow, listen until you go numb, love until you lose balance. And when you finally retreat to recover, people wonder why you've gone silent. They don't realize that your silence isn't rejection, it's survival. For an INFJ, the act of caring is never casual. It consumes you, it rewires your heart, it reshapes your energy. You see potential in others even when they cannot see it themselves, and that hope becomes a thread that keeps you tethered, sometimes to people who are not meant to stay, sometimes to pain that should have been released long ago. And yet, even when you know better, your empathy keeps you from walking away. Because your love is not conditional, it's intuitive, unconditional, and sometimes, painfully so. The third struggle is the unbearable loneliness that comes from being misunderstood even by those you love. You can be surrounded by people and still feel like a ghost, watching, observing, existing slightly outside of everything. You crave depth, authenticity, real connection, but most interactions skim the surface, leaving you empty. You long for conversations that explore meaning, emotion, purpose, but instead, you hear small talk echoing in your mind like static. You give people pieces of your inner world, fragments of your truth, hoping they'll recognize you there, but most don't. And that hurts in a way few understand. It's not that INFJs want to be mysterious, it's that they rarely find souls who can meet them in their emotional depth. So they stay quiet, watching, waiting, dreaming of connection but settling for understanding themselves. They carry an invisible ache for a kind of belonging that feels like home, not a place, but a person, a resonance, a shared silence where no words are needed. Until that happens, they live between worlds, too deep for the shallow, too gentle for the cruel, too intuitive for the indifferent. The fourth struggle is the constant internal contradiction. The need to help others while craving solitude, the desire to connect while fearing betrayal, the hunger for meaning while feeling disillusioned by the world's noise. Your mind is always in dialogue with itself, analyzing, reflecting, questioning, reframing, and though it gives you wisdom, it also brings exhaustion. You're constantly aware of everything: the energy in a room, the emotions of a friend, the subtle shifts in a tone, and that awareness never turns off. It's like living with an antenna permanently tuned to every emotional frequency around you. And yet, when you try to explain this to others, they look at you blankly, unable to grasp how you can be both exhausted and insightful, lonely yet loving, withdrawn yet deeply connected. It's an inner paradox, to see so much and still be invisible. You can sense the beauty in others' pain, the lessons in your own heartbreak, the meaning behind every ending, yet the very depth that gives you clarity also isolates you. You wish you could live lightly, but depth is your native language, and pretending otherwise feels like suffocating your soul. The fifth struggle is the heaviness of expectation, not from others, but from yourself. INFJs carry an internal standard that borders on impossible. You want to live with purpose, to do meaningful work, to make a difference, not for attention, but because your heart aches for alignment. You feel restless in routine, unsatisfied with superficiality, haunted by the idea that you were meant for something more. Yet this longing can turn into pressure. You push yourself to be good, to be kind, to be useful, to fulfill your potential, to never waste time. And when you fall short, you turn that compassion you show others into quiet self-criticism. You replay moments where you could have said more, done better, tried harder, not realizing that your own humanity deserves grace too. INFJs often forget that their empathy must include themselves. They spend their energy lighting candles for others, not noticing how dim their own flame has become. They seek perfection in purpose, when what they truly need is peace in imperfection. The struggle is learning to rest without guilt, to give without depletion, to exist without proving. The sixth struggle is the endless absorption of emotions that do not belong to you. You walk through the world like a sponge of human energy, collecting fragments of moods, fears, and hidden pains that others unknowingly spill into the air. You sense the heaviness in a friend's voice even when they say they're fine. You feel the silent sorrow in a stranger's eyes even when they smile. You pick up on the emotional static that fills a room and carry it within you like it's your own. It's not something you choose, it's simply how you exist. But it's exhausting, isn't it? Because even when you want to protect your energy, your empathy has no switch, no boundary, no off button. It keeps reaching, absorbing, merging, until you can no longer tell where others end and where you begin. You find yourself retreating to solitude not because you dislike people, but because your nervous system aches from feeling too much, too deeply, too often. This is the unspoken cost of emotional intelligence, the fatigue of a soul that constantly translates invisible languages, that feels emotions before they are spoken, that carries burdens never meant to be yours. You sit alone at night trying to separate your own sadness from the sorrow you've collected from others, whispering to yourself, "Is this mine? Or did I just pick it up from someone else?" And finally, the seventh struggle, perhaps the most haunting of all, is the unshakable sense of being different. From childhood, INFJs feel it, the subtle awareness of being out of sync with the world's rhythm. While others chase validation, you chase meaning. While others move through life unconsciously, you observe it with aching clarity. You see patterns in people's behavior, you sense destinies forming before they happen, You connect events that others call coincidence. And though this awareness gives you wisdom, it also isolates you. You watch life unfold like a film you can never fully enter. You're too emotionally awake for the numb, too spiritually conscious for the ordinary. And so you walk alone, not because you want to, but because few can keep pace with the way you feel, think, and perceive. You question everything: love, fate, humanity, purpose, not out of cynicism, but out of yearning. You want to understand why we hurt, why we love, why we stay, why we leave. You want to make sense of pain and beauty, chaos and calm, endings and beginnings. And sometimes, that very desire becomes your burden. Because while others are content to simply live, you're constantly analyzing what it all means. You're both the observer and the participant, the healer and the broken one, the seeker and the skeptic. And yet, despite all of this, despite the loneliness, the exhaustion, the invisible weight, there's something sacred about the INFJ's daily struggle. Because in your quiet battles, you discover a kind of beauty that most never see. You find meaning in pain, light in solitude, wisdom in heartbreak. You turn suffering into understanding, silence into language, darkness into empathy. You transform the very things that hurt you into gifts that heal others. Every struggle you endure becomes a piece of insight you offer the world. Every sleepless night spent overthinking becomes a poem in the way you love. Every disappointment becomes fuel for compassion. You see, the world needs people like you, people who feel deeply in a time where feeling is feared, people who care fiercely in a world that rewards indifference, people who stand for authenticity in an age of performance. Your struggles don't make you weak, they make you rare. Because you carry both light and shadow with equal tenderness. You walk through life sensing its fragility, yet you still choose to believe in love, in growth, in hope. You still choose to see the good when others see nothing but ruin. That's what makes the INFJ both cursed and blessed: cursed to feel too much, blessed to turn that feeling into art, kindness, and understanding. So yes, your daily struggles are real. They weigh on your heart and cloud your mind. You'll have days when you want to disappear, when solitude feels like the only safe place left. You'll have moments where you question your purpose, your worth, your place in a world that doesn't seem to understand your language. But remember this: even in your isolation, you are not alone. Every INFJ across the world feels this same quiet ache, this same longing for authenticity, this same battle between empathy and exhaustion. You are connected by that invisible thread of shared sensitivity, the universal knowing that you were built to feel, to see, to understand. Your struggles are the price of your perception, the echo of your empathy, the cost of your consciousness. But they are also the reason your presence heals others. People may not always say it, but they feel it: the way your energy softens a room, the way your words calm storms, the way your silence speaks understanding. You don't need to explain who you are, because those who are meant for you will feel it, just as you feel the truth in others. So take a deep breath, INFJ. Let the world be what it is: chaotic, loud, unfeeling at times, but never let it harden you. You were born to sense what others ignore, to bring light to what others overlook, to remind the world that sensitivity is not weakness, it's a higher form of strength. You don't need to fix everyone, you don't need to prove your worth, you don't need to hide your depth. Your presence is enough. Because beneath all the daily struggles, beneath the exhaustion, the loneliness, the self-doubt, there's a rare kind of magic in you. The magic of someone who feels everything, understands everything, and still chooses love. And that is the quiet power that will always set you apart. You are not broken for feeling too much. You are simply built to see what most cannot. And though that vision may come with pain, it also gives you the gift of transformation. The ability to turn your wounds into wisdom, your empathy into artistry, your solitude into sanctuary. So yes, the struggles of being an INFJ are heavy, but they are also holy. Because through them, you are not just surviving the world. You are translating it into meaning, one quiet breath at a time.